BBC News the headlines. Headlines تعني عناوين الأخبار.
This is BBC World News, the headlines. A deadly crackdown. This is BBC World News, the headlines. A deadly crackdown in Myanmar with
A deadly crackdown. Deadly يعني مميت. Crackdown. Deadly crackdown يعني قمع. Deadly crackdown in Myanmar. Deadly crackdown. Deadly crackdown أي قمع مميت in Myanmar with reports
that 9 protesters have been
with reports the 9 of
protesters
that mean متظاهرين. Protesters report the 9 protesters have been killed. قتلوا. Protesters have been killed. تقارير عن مقتل 9 متظاهرين. Protesters report the 9 protesters have been killed. As
security forces fire live rounds into security that means security forces قوات fire live rounds into security forces قوات الأمن fire live rounds ذخيرة حية fire live rounds and crowds protesting against the coup as security crowds protesting against the coup.
Crowds protesters. Crowd. Crowd.
Crowds protesting against the coup. Crowds protesting against the coup. Crowds protesting against the coup.
Crowds protesting against the coup. Crowds تعني حشود. Crowds protesting تعني احتجاج. Protester متظاهر. Protesting احتجاج against the coup ضد الانقلاب. Against the coup.
Crowds protesting against the coup. At least 2 of the victims are believed to have been teenage. At least 2 of the victims are believed to have been teenage children. Minister at the centre of an historic children.
At least 2 of the victims are believed. بمعنى are believed يعني يعتقد. At least على الأقل 2 of the victims. 2 من الضحايا. 2 of the victims at least are believed. يعني نعتقد أن على الأقل هناك 2 من الضحايا. To have been teenage.
To have been teenage or Christian
teenage يعني كانوا في مرحلة المراهقة.
children. Australia's Attorney General Christian Porter. Children. Australia's Attorney General. Children.
Australian attorney. Australian attorney. يعني أو محامي. Australian محامي. General لواء. Attorney General يعني المدعي العام. Attorney General المدعي العام. Christian Porter says he is the
Cabinet.
Okay. Cabinet manager أو وزير الخزانة. Okay.
Minister at the center of in history. Minister at the center of in history.
Manager at the center of in history. Minister at the center of the historic يعني وزير في مركز التاريخ أو في قلب التاريخ. Repay. Rape allegation. Rape معناها انتهاك وغتصاب Rape allegation يعني ادعاء بالانتهاكات.
A claim he strongly denies. Claims he strongly denies in anonymous.
Claims he strongly denies in anonymous. يدعي أنه ينفي بشدة مجهول. Claims he strongly denies. هو يدعي بشدة. Claims he's anonymous. Denies ينفي. Denies. Okay. Later
alleges a teenage girl. Letter alleges a teenage girl was raped.
Letter تعني رسالة. رسالة. Letter alleges يعني رسالة تزعم teenager girl was repaired.
Letter alleges a teenage girl was raped. Letter alleges a teenage girl was raped.
Letter alleges was a teenager girl was raped. Letter alleges a teenager girl was raped by Mr. Porter in
1988.
1988.
A BBC investigation
Oh. A BBC investigation has found evidence.
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 Investigation has been or has found evidence.
BBC investigation has found evidence.
Has found evidence. Has found evidence.
That China's policy of transferring that China's policy of transferring that China's policy of transferring that China's policy of transferring
That China's policy of transferring
that China's policy of transferring
نقل transferring نقل. The China policy سياسة الصين
China's policy
of transferring hundreds of thousands
of Uyghurs and hundreds of thousands of Uyghurs and other ethnic minorities.
hundreds of thousands of Uyghurs من نقل الكثير من الإيغور. transferring نقل a policy سياسات policy
and other ethnic minorities from
other
ethnic minorities
ethnic minorities from
northwest
ethnic عرقي
minorities
أقلية minorities أقلية. Shanghai أو to Victoria job
factory
مصنع job often
far from home is being used as a method.
often غالبا far from her is being used as استخدامه بعيدة عن المنزل used as كوسيلة method طريقة method
uprooting and assimilating the population uprooting, uprooting,
إقلاع أو اقتلاع.
uprooting,
uprooting and
assimilating, assimilating, assimilating,
assimilating. uprooting و assimilating يعني اقتلاع واستيعاب. uprooting اقتلاع أو assimilating استيعاب.
the population
السكان.
Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel. Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel under. Germany's Chancellor Angela.
Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel under
pressure to ease the lockdown after
pressure to ease the lockdown after. ease يعني تسهل. pressure الضغط. the Chancellor أو المستشار Chancellor Angela Merkel under the pressure to ease the lockdown after month of
restrictions.
قيود. restrictions in the country في البلاد. So فهي she is meeting regional meeting regional leaders as the peace pace means السرعة of the
vaccination
has been sluggish بطيء. إذن